self-defeat could be like the ferocious lion that is just constantly attacking itself. And it can also be, if somebody says something to you, it's like pouncing on that and feeding off of that for days, for weeks, for months, for even years for some people. So in this video, I'm going to give you 5 tips to help with self-defeat. Now let me first say, I'm doing this video because I am definitely no stranger to self-defeat, self-deprecation, negative self-talk. I went through many years, still have my moments, of course, but many years of struggling with this and feeling very guilty and feeling just like I wasn't worthy of certain things in life, or that I couldn't kind of match up to other people. I had a very dysfunctional relationship with food for many years, and that put me in states of guilt and self-defeat mode and all kinds of these negative emotions, and basically when you're hating yourself. So how do you pull yourself out of this? I mean, it's a lot of things that both men and women experience, but we're going to talk about it today, because it's really important, and I think a lot of people do it, a lot of people don't talk about it, and they should talk about it. So number 1 is to actually give yourself the permission to bring give yourself permission to change. So self-defeat, negative self-talk, these are all these unconscious perceptions that we pick up from experiences along the train of life. And they can be very skewed, but we get them from experiences from maybe what people said to us when we were younger, from societal demands. Society has a flawed idea, it's this flawed idea of perfection that doesn't exactly exist, but this gets embedded in our brains, and it becomes a narrative. It becomes almost like a movie script for ourselves. And we all know, like if you're watching, compare your life to like a drama movie right now. If you're watching a drama, very serious movie, and suddenly it just changes to comedy, it doesn't fit the script. It doesn't make sense to us. So that's kind of how it goes in our heads as well. And a lot of times we don't give ourselves the permission to change that. So that's number 1, is to allow yourself, to give yourself permission. We are control freaks, essentially, in life. We're control freaks with ourselves, and we often forget that we also have the control to not be in control, to be out of control, and that's okay. And control stems from fear. It's fear-based. So if we can give ourselves permission to actually feel what we need to feel, not try to grasp it, to fight it, to feel the anxiety, to feel the fear, to feel whatever we are feeling in our body, let it course through, we'll realize that we are in control of not always controlling. So just to put it in another kind of to make you think about it a little bit. Okay, number 2, stop apologizing to everybody else and start apologizing to yourself for the way you've been treating you. That's number 1. We get into this kind of over-nurturing mode in a sort of way where apologizing for every little thing we do, and this shows, I guess, some of our insecurities coming out, but also the next big thing is to practice receiving kindness from other people, instead of being in, tend to be in like this defensive mode where we can't accept a compliment, or we think people are not being genuine with us, or we think we're not worthy of that. That takes practice. It really does. So the more we're aware of it, of when we're doing it, or when somebody is trying to do something for us, or pay for our meal, or do something out of the kindness of their heart, and right away we kind of shut them down, just realize that's your body's defensive mechanism. It's a protection mechanism from probably a past hurt where somebody burnt you in the past and you don't trust people. So it goes to safety, it goes to trust, but the more you can really practice receiving when somebody does something for you, instead of the over-nurturing aspect, saying, no, 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 I'll do it, or apologizing to people, oh, you shouldn't do that, I'm sorry, you have to. Just say thank you and leave it at that. The more you practice that, the better it will be. Number 3, realize that your shadows can also be your best friend and your biggest powerhouse in life. So what do I mean by that? So we all have shadows, and the shadows are usually those dark bits of ourselves that we don't want to face or we don't like, our insecurities, what we think is flawed about us. But just realize that you can reframe that. You can take all that ick, you might call it, all that dark stuff inside of you, and you can reframe it and transform it into something beautiful, actually. I know that sounds silly, but think about it. You can help somebody else. You can take that pain and that trauma and all that darkness and all that negative defeat and all that icky stuff you feel is icky inside of you, and you can transform that energy into something else to help other people who are going through the same exact thing. So we're never alone, and just because we're bruised, we're never broken. That's a key here, okay? We always think we're broken, we're broken. We may be a little battered, we may be a little bruised, but we can take that and we can turn that into something really, really powerful in life. And it's just a reframing technique where we can take something from a negative place and turn it into something light. Number 4, catch your negative self-talk in the process. So this can be tricky, but it's not impossible. It's being more aware of what's going on in your body, being more grounded in your body, however that works for you. Maybe it's taking away a lot of the distractions in your life, getting off social media for one, getting away from techniques of escapism and going for a walk out in nature. Just being more present in your body is going to make you more aware, first of all. It's going to make you more aware of the decisions you're making in your life, the actions you're taking. Because a lot of us are walking around like zombies and we're basically unconscious. We're just on a default mode, right? Just our brains are on a default mode all day, autopilot. It's like driving, autopilot. We know what to do, we don't have to think about it. So that's the same with if we've been defeating ourselves so long or talking down to ourselves so long, it just becomes our safety zone, our comfort zone. And again, it goes back to like that movie. It's the comfort zone of like the drama movie of our lives, and God forbid, so, you know, Bugs Bunny comes in and is hopping around. Like that just doesn't, we can't even conceive of that in our world. And that's where the permission part comes in, because we think that this is all there is, but realize that's just the script of your life right now. There are many scripts, it's just what you're highlighting. So what you put your focus on, what you put your highlight on becomes your reality in life. So the more you're obviously focusing on negative self-defeat, that becomes your reality of what you see in the mirror. That becomes your reality of who you are. But it's not who you are. It's who your ego thinks you are. Is this really me, or is this my ego's perception of the self right now, formed from these patterns of belief I've had over time? It's not you. It's who the ego thinks you are, because the ego identifies itself, has to identify itself as a single entity, you know, in comparison to other people. It has to. It has no other way. It's all it knows. That's what our ego does. But just realize the more you catch yourself in that moment, the more you can, again, transform that or kind of shut it down right away. And number 5 is lighten up the mood. What do I mean by that? So we always think that these deep, dark emotions, depression, gloom, sadness, fear, anger even, it has this very heavy effect on our body, right? On our energy. But if we can transform that in a way, get away from our script of what this emotion is doing to us, how it's tearing us apart, we can do that. We have the choice, we have the control to do that if we want to. So it's kind of like, you know, when you say, oh, I can't make light of depression, I can't make light of this. You can do whatever the hell you want in your life. And if it's going to better yourself, again, it goes back to that permission to feel better, to not be in the comfort zone of just because I feel this way and I've felt this way for 20 years, this is home for me. This is where I don't know anything else. Okay. But you still have the power, you still have the control to lighten it. Okay. So what I'm thinking, negative thought pops into your head. Picture it as like a little bubble cloud, right? A bubble cloud floating, and let it float. Don't fight it. Don't punch it. Let it float by, and then it eventually pops. And you're going to probably have a million more that are coming your way. Let them float. Let them pop. You know, so it's kind of lightening the dark in a sort of way and changing your perception on it all. When you think about it, life is funny. Life is, we could be living in a simulation right now and we wouldn't even know it, but we still have to experience it somehow, right? We can't. So it's shifting your perception and your perspective on just the grand scheme of things. It's rising above those little things you've been focusing on. You're that lion who pounced on that comment somebody made to you, 5 months ago, and you can't let go of it. You can't let go of it. Ask yourself, why can't I let go of this? What benefit is it giving me to be in this state of anger and rage? And yeah, I hate that guy, I hate that person. Well, just let that little bubble go by and pop, poof. That person, they don't care about you, you don't care about them. Psh, not part of your script anymore, right? Not part of your movie. Not to waste time or placing importance on what somebody said, and more highlighting and receiving what's good about you, instead of denying it and pushing it away because you think that's what you deserve. No, it's highlighting the things in your life that benefit you, that are good for you, that inspire you, that lift you up. And it's detaching, float away, all of the toxic crap, okay? And sometimes that takes time and it takes practice, but it's not impossible. It's not impossible. So self-defeat and self-deprecation, it's a tough thing to master. And I don't think we ever master it, and I don't think it's something to be mastered, because there's no such thing as perfect. No such thing as flawed either, right? We're just living this life. But what we see on the outside is a reflection of what's going on the inside and our internal state. So do something for yourself today. Do one thing for yourself today. Allow yourself to do something for yourself, something that benefits you, okay? If it's calling a friend who inspires you, if it's taking a walk out in nature, if it's learning to say no to people, learning to say thank you to people, it's one little thing, one step at a time, not everything all at once. No such thing as perfection. But the ego thinks there is, because the ego is constantly comparing us to other people and always thinking that other people have it better than us. But they don't necessarily, because there's a lot of people hurting out in the world, just like you, just like I, and they can be helped by taking a real experience and transforming it into something really, really beautiful. So on that note, I hope this was helpful for you. Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't done so. I put out new videos every single week for you on self-development, self-empowerment, Chinese medicine, 5 elements, all kinds of good stuff, spirituality. So on that note, have a great day. Love yourself, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.